everybody, it's Sarah the Urban Farm Gal back again for another recipe. This week we are making tomato and fennel soup because we got fennel with the CSA shares today. And because I ordered a huge box of tomatoes and I have 20 pounds of tomatoes I need to get rid of. So this recipe calls for using 24 tomatoes, which barely made a dent in my box, but that's okay. I'll make lots of tomato sauce with my tomatoes. I'm kind of excited about that. So first things first, we're gonna roast our fennel, some onion, some garlic, and our tomatoes. So 1 large onion, 1 or 2 large fennel bulbs. We got fairly small bulbs, so I'm going to use everything that I got today. If you've never used fennel, it came looking like this at the CSA. In the grocery store, it may still have the long fronds attached to them, and you can actually eat the leaves. That's perfectly fine. I'm not going to use them today because most of them got cut off. So the way to prepare this, you want to cut the bottom of the fennel bulb off, and then you can remove these outer leaves. If they fall off, that's fine, and I'm going to need to wash this again. But you're going to make a couple of really steep cuts and make like a really steep roof kind of peak with this fennel bulb. So there's the first one, and there's the second one, and this is the part you're going to use. So next I'm going to take my fennel and I'm just going to chop each bulb in half lengthwise. Baking sheet. I'm going to drizzle a little bit of oil on my sheet to start. Just drizzled my counter. And I'm going to go ahead and chop my onion. Don't have to chop it into small pieces because everything is going to get blended up either in a blender or with an immersion blender, which is what I'm going to use. We're using the whole onion though. So I'm going to chop it into 4 pieces each half. Drizzle with more olive oil. I've got 2 bulbs of garlic I'm going to roast whole. And this one, a little dirty on the outside. By the way, I don't know if you have chickens. My chickens love garlic skins. I don't know why. It seems like a really bizarre treat, but they absolutely go bananas for them. All right. Whoa! That was almost a garlic calamity. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this in the oven because these are going to take longer to roast than the tomatoes. My oven, by the way, is preheating at 350. It's not quite there yet, but it's almost there. Large baking tray for the tomatoes. So each tomato you're just going to chop in half lengthwise, like so. Place it on the cookie sheet. Easy peasy. Would you look at that? It's like this tray was made for 2 dozen Roma tomatoes. Could not have planned that better myself. Let's chop some garlic. Little olive oil, drizzle over the tomatoes. Let's drizzle some garlic chunks. And if you miss the tomato and hit the tray, that's okay, because that's what's happening with me. And I'm here to tell you it's fine. Salt, pepper. Just a little dosing on top. Hey, my oven's preheated. Good timing, oven. I'm also going to add just a little dash of dried basil. I do have some fresh basil from the garden that I'm going to make a little pesto with, and that's going to go on top of the soup when I serve it. But I just want a little bit on the tomatoes because I like basil, so whatever. And then with this dried thyme, I'm just stripping the leaves off of the stems and I'm rubbing them between my fingers just to kind of crush them a little bit as I sprinkle it on to my tomatoes. I'm going to add a little parsley too. I've got some parsley hanging right here. If you just rub it between your hands, boom, it disintegrates all over your tomatoes. Awesome. Oh, this smells really good. I'm so excited about this because you know what? It's supposed to be cold and rainy tomorrow, and this soup is going to taste so good. So I could not fit my trays side by side, so I've got one on top of the other, which means I'm going to need to rotate them about halfway through the cooking process. So I'm going to set my timer for 30 minutes. I'm going to swap the bottom and the top for another 25 to 30 minutes. Okay, we have roasted tomatoes, roasted onion and fennel, and some garlic. And if I could transfer to you what my kitchen smells like right now, you would just be so elated. It smells so good. So now comes the really easy part. You take a pot and you dump everything into the pot, minus the 2 full garlic cloves. This is still kind of hot. You're just scraping everything into a giant Dutch oven or soup pot or whatever you've got. So tomatoes, and some of these garlic bits that didn't land on the tomatoes kind of got caramelized on the cookie sheet as they baked, so kind of excited about that. Onions and fennel, in you go. And I'm gonna throw in some more basil and a little bit more thyme. I'm gonna save some of this garlic for my pesto. Got some of it. Just gonna throw in here because you can never have enough garlic. So now the next step is just to add a little bit of water or broth to this. So I'm gonna start with about a cup. And I'm just using water today. If you have chicken broth or vegetable broth, you can use that, but that's fine. And then I'm gonna kind of stir everything down so it gets into the water. We just set it on the stove to cook it for a little longer, about 10 minutes. Let the flavors all kind of marinate with one another. And then take the immersion blender, jam it in there, blend everything up until it's nice and smooth, and then you're done. So while this is on the stove cooking, we're gonna make pesto. So I've already got my roasted garlic here. So I'm gonna go ahead and peel these. And I've got, I don't know, there might be a half cup of basil leaves in here. A little bit of salt. A little bit of oil. And I've got, I don't know, it's probably a 1/3 cup of pine nuts. Let's rock and roll. I feel like we need more basil. So since we're about to get a hard freeze, and my basil's not going to survive anyway, I'm going to go pluck the rest of it from my garden and add it to this, and then I'll call it good. Okay, we are almost finished here. Last thing to do is to blend up everything that is in the soup pot with the immersion blender. Okay, so you can see that everything's still whole in here, but cooking down. We've got a nice kind of soupy texture, I think. So I'm happy with this. Here we go. Ooh, that one splashed a little far. So I don't mind my soup being a little thick, and this is not the soupiest soup out there. So if you want, you can dilute this down with a little more stock or water if you prefer a little thinner soup. I like mine to have a little heft. Let's give it a taste. A little bit more salt. I'm not going to add too much because I think I'm going to serve this with some feta cheese, which is quite salty. All right, here we have it. A little bit of tomato fennel soup with a little pesto and some feta cheese. Stir a little bit to swirl my pesto around. Still quite hot. Ooh, yummy. That's good. Okay, so that's tomato fennel soup. Just set this over here. So, if you've been wondering what this big beast is, this is one of the melons we got at the CSA today. And I ordered yellow watermelons. This is definitely yellow. I'm just not 100% sure it's watermelon. So, we called it a mystery melon. I promised that I would cut into this so you can see exactly what it is. And then you can go from there. Maybe I'll know what it is. I don't really know. I'm just going to cut an end off. We'll see what it looks like on the inside. It is a yellow watermelon. smells like watermelon. It's definitely a yellow watermelon. Awesome. Okay, well now you know. All right, enjoy your yellow watermelons this week, everybody. We have 4 weeks left. I'll see you next week. Bye.